me now to discuss it all is Tom Mulcair. He's CTV's political commentator and the former leader of the NDP. Good morning to you, Tom.
Good to be with you, Marcia.
All right, so the premiers and the prime minister met again virtually. They're going to be meeting now on a weekly basis. Where do you think we are in terms of Canada's position of response to the tariff threat?
Well, I think that the general approach that we've heard from all premiers, with the exception, of course, of Alberta's premier, Danielle Smith, is everything has to be on the table. They're prudent about it. I don't think that Hydro-Quebec wants to be losing billions of dollars any more than the province of Saskatchewan would like to see their potash exports drop off. But I think that everybody understands that we're dealing with a unique beast in Donald Trump. He's boastful. He's always saying that he's going to do things that he winds up not doing. But it's the big threat that starts these negotiations that leaves everybody a bit relieved when he finally comes down to something more than reasonable. And then he gets what he actually wanted. So this is the art of dealing with Trump. Trudeau said it well. You know, he's a skillful negotiator. He has his technique that he's proven over the years works. So we've got to be wise to that, and we've also got to know who we are and what we want. You know, we as a country have a certain number of things that we've done over the years that we want to hold on to, and we don't necessarily ascribe to a lot of the things that Trump has been putting out there. I think that, you know, the example of gender recognition is one of them. Mr. Poilievre is walking in the steps of Donald Trump on this issue, figuring that there must be a number of Canadians. I'm sure he's got good measurements and polling to dictate that allow him to go down that path. And yet Canadians have always been more open, more tolerant, and accepting of diversity. So we'll see whether that works out for Mr. Poilievre. But with regard to Trump and the Canadian government reaction more generally, I think that we're doing it just right as things now stand. And I sense a certain freedom as he's acting on the part of Mr. Trudeau, in the sense that he knows he's only going to be there for another few weeks. And he knows that he's got a big thing on the table in front of him. He seems to be more relaxed and more capable of dealing with it than if he would have been otherwise, because he would have been thinking more about himself and the reaction to him. Now he's really all in, saying we've got to defend Canada, and this is what they intend to do. And I think they've been doing a pretty darn good job.
Let's turn now to the leadership race. Mark Carney has the support of some prominent cabinet ministers, former colleagues of Chrystia Freeland. What do you make of the endorsements so far, and what do they mean for Carney and potentially for Freeland?
Well, there are two different levels, I would dare say, Marcia. When you have a much larger number of MPs who are not necessarily in cabinet, what you're getting as a signal is that the people who depend completely on the ability of the new leader to get themselves reelected, they're throwing in their lot in far larger numbers with Mr. Carney. I think that's a reflection of the fact that they think he can win, and they can help them win in their own individual races. With regard to cabinet ministers, there's been one thing that's been the brass ring here. Now, the Liberals have for over 100 years gone through a system. It's not formal, it's not in their constitution, but they actually do it. It's been very successful for them. They alternate between Anglophone and Francophone leaders. So this time around, replacing Justin Trudeau, you've got several people like Freeland and Carney and others who understand that, which also means that you've got some senior, respected Quebec cabinet ministers who are sitting this one out. Think Mélanie Joly. Think François-Philippe Champagne. Now, Champagne is an interesting case. There are rumors out there that Champagne will indeed endorse Mark Carney. If that comes to pass, that will be extraordinarily important as an endorsement. He was seen as leadership material. He turned down the entreaties of the Quebec Liberal Party, who desperately wanted him to come in and save them and become the premier of Quebec. He says that he's there to fight the good fight federally. And again, if he backs Carney, Marcia, I think that might be one of the most important things that happens in this whole leadership campaign.
Okay, of course, we'll be watching to see how it all plays out. And you're going to be right along with us. Tom Mulcair, thanks so much. He is our CTV
Great
News
to be with you.
Political commentator and former NDP leader.